Welcome to Crushgasm, the podcast dedicated to the highs and lows of crushes from their first to their worst. We're going to cover them all with a cascade of characters, including our guest today, a band that knows how to get the party started. Monsoon, a fabulous trio of talented musicians who double as unapologetic Starbucks drinkers, tired synth collectors, and drumming space video addicts, otherwise known as Sienna, Rowan, and Joey. And they're here to talk not only about their new album, Ghost Party, but also their most adored fictional crushes. Monsoon, how are y'all doing?
Good.
So great.
Yay! Are you guys ready to talk about your fictional crushes?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, Sienna, we're going to start with you because your crush has been going on for almost 20 years. And it's Titus, who video game aficionados will know is from Final Fantasy X. So he's been making you feel all sorts of kind of ways for a long time. But is he like the first video game character you ever crushed on?
You know, he wasn't actually. I first had a crush on Sora from a very similar style RPG called Kingdom Hearts. But then it swiftly moved over to Titus when I started playing Final Fantasy X. And I was like, no, this guy's way cooler, way hotter. His hair is way spikier. Like, I'm all about it.
Was spiky hair the thing that got you? Because it was big at a time.
It was super big, especially in video games. And he also had this really cool sword. And I really thought that was cool. And his outfit was sick. And he was trying to save the world. And I was just like, I want to be with him in real life.
Rowan, Joey, did you have any video game crushes growing up or even today? I know, Rowan, you said you were playing some video games before this.
I was playing Spider-Man Miles Morales, and I just gotta say, like, I just love Miles Morales.
I mean, he's a very crush-worthy character all around, movies, video games, everywhere.
I just thought of a video game crush. I was always into Ashley from Resident Evil 4.
She was cutie.
Was that the president's daughter?
Yeah, it
Yes.
was the president's daughter, and she was like the damsel in distress. Like, she embodied the character. Help me, Leon, help me. And I played that game religiously, and, you know, it was a thing.
No Legend of Zelda or Link in there, because those are mine.
Oh.
Those are good ones. Those are really good ones to have.
Yeah, Princess Zelda's pretty good one. Wait,
Ganondorf.
from which game though?
It's like Link has to be the most like human looking with that like hair that's like perfectly like boy band 90s. Oh.
Yeah, Wind Waker, I think, is a good one for that hair.
Sienna, at the time this crush started to develop, you were still in like elementary school, and Titus is like supposed to be like 17 years old. Did that cool older boy aesthetic play into your crush at all?
I don't think so. I looked at him as like this arc of just the coolest thing I could ever imagine. I didn't really take into account that I was 9. I just was like, I am in love with him. I think I even wanted to be him a little bit. So age didn't play a role as this like utter fascination.
And what's kept him high on this like crush pedestal all these years later?
I always go back to like, I don't think I'm ever going to love anyone as much as Titus, because I dreamed about this fictional character, and it was kind of got embarrassing. Like, you know, in elementary school when you get binders and you like shove whatever piece of paper in the front of your binder, something that makes you laugh. A lot of kids do like cats or dogs or whatever. Mine was this big picture of Titus. And I went to a fairly like country school, and they were like, "What's that? Who is that? That's weird." And I was like, "It's fucking Titus, you uncultured swine."
I take it you had like a lot of horse girls in your school.
So many horse girls, so many farm girls.
Titus wasn't alone. He had someone by the name of Yuna. Did you like low-key hate her?
A little bit. I really did. Like, I hated her, but I also wanted to be her. And so I actually went as Yuna for Halloween because I thought it would better my chances of being with Titus. I have pictures of this. I was kind of a stocky young youth, and my mom, she has these really long sleeves. So I remember for Halloween, my mom wrapped my arms in pillowcases to look like I had these long sleeves, and I like danced around the yard pretending I was running in a forest with Titus. I attached a picture that my dad photoshopped my face onto Yuna's, so that there's this like beautiful kissing scene in Final Fantasy X, and he photoshopped my face onto Yuna to make it look like I was kissing Titus. Let alone I was 9 years old, and this was like some action hero 17-year-old boy.
I saw that picture, and I mean, shout out to your dad for the Photoshop skills, first and foremost. But I do want to know, did he find that weird at all?
He has a mad sense of humor. I think he was he knew how obsessed I was with it, and I think he wanted to see my reaction, which was very happy. And so he was doing something for me. We all had like a messed up sense of humor in the Chandler household, so no weirdness there, just kind of good old fun.
It's not something your parents will bring up today, kind of like to make fun of you at all?
Well, no, but we do kind of have this running tradition. I had these Titus and Yuna action figures that I got for like a birthday one year, and for some reason they've made it on our Christmas tree as like a yearly ornament. So we'll hang them up and kind of like reflect on how funny it was. It's, you know how when you put the like Jesus and Joseph and Mary, they kind of like take place of that on our Christmas tree. Titus and Yuna.
I'm glad they don't make fun of it. I made my mom buy a cake for a Backstreet Boys birthday one time when I was in middle school. And to this day, my dad's like, remember when you're like made your mom buy a birthday cake for that one guy that you don't even know? I'm like, shut up. Okay. It was more about the cake. I was like a fat kid. Rude.
Whoa, that's an awesome cake though. I wonder if they still make those.
I mean, you can still get a picture on them, probably if you go to like Albertsons or any local chain one.
Yeah.
But Joey, Rowan, did you have any like Photoshop pictures with you and your crushes over the years?
No,
I
I
can't say
didn't.
that.
I just have a really like messed up father, okay?
No, you had a caring father.
Yeah.
So another aspect of Titus that perhaps made him attractive was that he was like the protagonist of the story and like a hero of sorts, which, Rowan, your crush is very similar in being a vigilante. Being that one of your crushes was from childhood and one is from today, do you think that we are innately as humans attracted to the good in people?
Yeah, I think so. Vigilantism is pretty cool. I would say that I'm attracted to vigilantism.
Okay, am I attracted to the good in people? Yes, I think I am. I think I like to see good humanity, and it makes me also respect people more, you know? Like, if you ask someone like a question and then they are thoughtful enough to ask you something back, it's like, just the small things. I like this. And yeah, I think I'm also attracted to the bad stuff a little bit too.
Oh, we have a lot of bad boy crushes that come through here. Now, Rowan, let's dive deeper into your crush, Matt Murdock, aka Daredevil, because this is a very new crush. It just started this year, and we're only a couple of months in. Did you finally get around to watching Daredevil? It's been on Netflix a while.
So I tried to watch Daredevil with my dad a while back when I was 12 or 13, but we deemed it a little too violent. And so recently, with his appearance in the new Spider-Man movie, spoilers, I got back into it, and I'm on season 3 now, and it just gets better and better. He's such a relatable character. I'm not blind, but he's relatable in just the way he is. And I'm getting to the point where I really sympathize with my boy Matt, and I really respect his vigilante grind.
Is this your first crush in the Marvel universe?
Yeah, I think so. Some of the characters in the Marvel universe are kind of like uninspiring and kind of like stagnant to me. Matt is kind of a dynamic. I don't know. He has more than one side to him as compared to like Captain America / Steve Rogers, who just kind of has one moral obligation to America.
Does anybody else have any Marvel crushes?
I don't. I unfortunately don't know superhero stuff that well. I dipped hard into the anime and video game world, so that's where I shine.
Same here.
All right, so again, Daredevil, a hero, you call him a badass, because being a vigilante is a very badass thing to do. Would you say that the sort of rebellious nature is a common denominator of all of your crushes thus far in your life?
I'm unsure. I'd say Matthew Murdock is definitely the first vigilante that I've crushed on.
No Batman?
No, I could never get down with that.
Me either. I'm like, he's just a rich guy that's doing things. Like, he's just cosplaying. At the end of the day, he's a cosplayer with money. So, Rowan, as someone who says they practice bird law a la Charlie Kelly from It's Always Sunny, was Matt's day job as an attorney appealing at all to you?
Incredibly. I mean, not like as a legitimate career path. I do not want to be a lawyer. I really find it interesting in the comics and the show how he can be fighting crime at night and defending those same people during his day job. It's just really cool. Also, just like lawsuit sequences in comic book and other media are just really cool to me because it's really dramatic and interesting to see how things go down.
I never thought about that, him like fighting crime and then being a lawyer. I've just never watched the show, I guess. I just saw him in Spider-Man, again, spoiler. But yeah. So being a creative, do any of you find that you lean more towards 9-to-5 workers, or are all your crushes on the more creative side?
I guess the latter. Yeah, not a lot of 9-to-5 crushes that I can think of.
Did have a crush on Rami Malek from Mr. Robot, which he was a 9-to-5, I think. He was so hot. But that's the only one I can think of. It's just like growing up was characters from video games that were in this, like, they had to save the world vibe.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Oh, John Hamm from Mad Men. That's a 9-to-5. That's a solid crush.
My mom was an extra in the movie Tag that John Hamm and Jeremy Renner were in.
Oh.
And I think when Ed Helms, the guy from The Office, when his character's baby is being born, my mom's the midwife that is delivering said baby.
Wow.
But yeah, John Hamm was on set that day.
So, Joey, your crushes, we talked about 9-to-5, but your crush deals with soap. And with that, we're going to talk about Tyler from Fight Club. And he is played by the forever sexiest man alive, Brad Pitt. Was this the first Brad Pitt you distinctly remember seeing and liking?
Yeah, I think that was the first movie I watched with him in it, if I can remember. So it was my first impression.
You didn't check out Thelma and Louise when he was a hot, sexy cowboy? For like 2 seconds?
I didn't, unfortunately.
My mom let me watch it at like 4, and I remember seeing him jumping on that bed, and I was like, oh my God.
as you do.
Yeah, because I think we're around the same age, and it feels like in 1999, I remember every boy my age liking that movie. Why do you think it resonated so much with teenage boys at that time?
Oh, I avoided watching it for a long time for that very reason. Just because it was like all my friends and everybody I knew was, oh, Fight Club, it's the best movie ever. It just had such a stigma to me. Like I didn't want to cave in and be another one of the teenage boys that was obsessed with it. But I did, and I saw why. It hits all the right spots, for lack of a better word, when you're in that time in your life and you're feeling feelings and things are angsty, and that whole movie is just like angst and fighting and sweat and dark and late at night. You know, it's all those drugs, it's all those things that a teenage boy, the inside of their brain just looks like the movie Fight Club in my opinion.
Feels like Fight Club was the movie equivalent of that time as like a Corn or Limp Bizkit, how you're explaining it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you love to hate it. Everyone knows they love it, but no one wants to admit that they love it. That kind of.
So what made you think, let me go ahead and put a Fight Club poster on my wall? Like, what about this character still does it for you all these years later?
Well, I took that poster down, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, but it was up for a solid decade of my life. There was something ironic about it. It was one of those things. A friend of mine got it for me, and it was so a teenage boy, you know, to have. I was just fully caving in to all the stigmas of liking Fight Club. Like, okay, fine, yeah, I'll hang it up on my bedroom wall, and then it just stayed there, and that's what I woke up to and went to bed to for a long time.
Not a bad view.
No, not at all.
And of all the crushes today, Tyler is the most fictional because even in the movie, doesn't exist. Another spoiler for anyone who hasn't seen it, the past 20 or so years. Do you think that was the best movie twist of all time?
The first time I watched it, yeah, I remember sitting like on the floor of the living room. It was on TV, So there's a bunch of commercials, but I was still super involved in it. I remember just jaw dropped, like to the floor, for that whole ending scene where they reveal everything, and it was mind-blowing. It was incredible. It was similar to like when you watch The Sixth Sense for the first time and they hit you with the twist. He's the ghost the whole time. You're just blown away. I thought it was really well written and really well done.
Does anyone else have any favorite movie twists?
I know I've seen a movie with a really good twist recently, but I can't remember what movie it was. Dang it.
Pick an M. Night Shyamalan movie.
I know. I mean, The Sixth Sense is a great. God, that's such a cliche answer. I feel like I have known some, but I'm blanking. I'll get back to you on this one.
What's the new Edgar Wright movie? It has the girl from Queen's Gambit in it, but I can't remember.
Soho one?
Yep, Midnight in Soho. That's it. That has a great twist, but I won't elaborate because watch it. It's great.
Yeah, we won't give spoilers to newer ones, but Fight Club, Sixth Sense, we can go there because it's been out a while.
Yeah.
You know what? Death Note had a lot of cool twists in it. It was an anime and it was a show, but I mean, there's some really awesome twists within that show. You know, and they bend the rules, like they set all these rules within the show, the rules of the book, and then they mess it up, and it's just really cool and entertaining throughout that entire series.
And we talked about the other crushes being these sort of heroes of their stories, but what do you think Tyler was in Fight Club? Was he friend or foe?
He was bad. He was all bad to the bone.
Joey's is the bad boy of the group.
Yeah, and he was so bad, like he wasn't even real. He was like the manifestation of all of the bad things of Edward Norton. It's just so well written. His character is just such a it's him imagining all of what he wants to be. He wants to be like this cut, hot, like bad to the bone fighting guy, and so he manifests it into. It's just so, you know.
Now, did this movie make you a Brad Pitt fanatic, or are you just like Tyler all the way done?
I thought it would make me a Brad Pitt fanatic, but I've been just underwhelmed by everything else I've seen him in, honestly. I mean, he's a great actor, don't get me wrong, great, but I just prefer him as Tyler Durden.
Now, before we move on and talk about the new album, we have to stay in the land of make-believe for a few more minutes because I'd love to know if each of you could be with your crush we talked about today and live in their fictional world. What would your lives be like?
Oh, I would kick Yuna's ass.
I'm sure you thought about this a lot.
You know, it's funny. I thought about this not too long ago. This is so lame. I was comparing the life, just this fascination and obsession with the Final Fantasy world, the entire Squaresoft universe. And I was like, why was I so attracted to that? And what am I doing now that's similar to that? And I was like, I wonder if I find touring so appealing is because it's kind of like this makeshift real life version of what I was doing, the games I was playing when I was a kid. And so you travel to all these places and you meet these people that you've never met before. And it's it's kind of like a quest each night. You get into situations. We got into some pretty funny situations on our last tour, and it's like the real life version of that. And I think it would make me very happy and almost be similar to what we're doing now, minus the swords, minus the Aeons and the flying dragons and all that shit. But the quests, I love it. It's the main quest.
Okay, life with Tyler. I don't know. I feel like I kind of would prefer to crush from afar, because to be in that life is literally just get punched in the face and get beat up all the time, which doesn't sound too appealing now as an adult. Maybe as an angsty teenager I'd be way into it, but now I'd be like, dang, I gotta go to work in the morning. I can't have a black eye.
You can't listen to Linkin Park all night and be mad.
Yeah. I mean, that house in the movie is really cool. I think it'd be fun to live in a crazy giant rundown shack, I don't know, and make bombs all day. No, just kidding. I would never do that.
And life with Daredevil?
I'd probably be in immediate danger a lot because he seems to just put the people around him in danger. So not bad. New York kind of stresses me out, but I think I'd brave through it for Matt.
Right, so we got quests and like a lot of danger from the other two. All right, so we're gonna move on and talk about we're gonna step away from the fictional, come back to reality, and talk about the music. Some years back, y'all were part of Super Bowl ads, developed this big following on the East Coast, but then y'all decided to take a break. Sienna and Joey, you went off and then you explored other avenues, Ohio, Canada, and then you decided to unite again. During that time apart, do you think there was one thing you did that helped you come back and be better for one another and Rowan?
Yeah, when I was away from the love of my life, for a little bit, I feel like I had amnesia and I just was kind of trailing off into this other path. And then it was literally one night I just started thinking about it and I was like, oh my God, I must go back and try and rekindle this music flame with this person. And that lasted for a good year before I finally had the courage to reach out. And so I think that strain and that want to make a better life for myself and create something with this other very talented human being and know what it was like to not have it made it better in the long run to have it and know what a life without this incredible thing that we're doing and this incredible person in my life. It put a lot of stuff in perspective for me.
And Rowan, you're new to the Monsoon family. Did you have any reservations about coming into a group that had been a duo for so long?
None at all. I really respect Sienna and Joey's dynamic because they really are a dynamic duo in writing and performing and everything else. So I understood that I was signing on to play bass, and it's been a blast.
And how has having this extra person, this third mind, been?
Amazing. Oh, Rowan, you bring so much talent and humor and charisma to everything, to practices and to the shows. And I think whenever I do enjoy playing as a two-piece, but I feel so awkward because it's I don't have anyone to bounce off of really standing in the front grounds with me, and having you as this armed person up in front has been such a treat, and I really enjoyed also being your friend and hanging out.
For context, we both get mics, but sometimes I just talk in the middle, between songs to cut down on dead time.
Oh, you're the banter person?
Well, I think we have a pretty good dynamic.
Jokes.
It's kind of, we're kind of a comedy group sometimes.
We kind of roast each other too, which is one of my favorite parts.
Yeah. One time I was wearing I have blue light glasses. I don't have an actual eye prescription or anything, but I wear blue light glasses to fix my sleep schedule and stuff. And I was wearing them on stage one time because they're comfy and look sick as fuck. And Sienna pointed out that they weren't prescription.
Yeah, I told Charleston he was a poser.
I was roasted, but it all worked out. It all worked out.
One of the best nights for banter.
Yeah.
So with your last album, you said there were some red flags that you learned from going into the new album. Were those red flags part of industry deals or recording? Where'd those come from?
For me, and I'll let you talk about your thing, but it was mainly just people kind of distracting us. We had a lot of people, some industry people, but I don't want to make it sound like it was super fancy, oh, Sony screwed us over, because it wasn't. It was just kind of regular run-of-the-mill people that wanted to, help us out with kids fresh out of college that thought that they could manage a band or book us a tour, and it's I understand music business and I want to be your manager and stuff like that. That just really, and we let people in not knowing any better, and it inevitably screwed a lot of things up. And then when I kind of went on my own and played music with people, some of which were great, some of which were bad eggs, and people actually in the band that I didn't know otherwise, and I really learned a lot from kind of trying to read people and vet people before I sign on to anything.
There's definitely been a lot of growth between then and now, specifically on the recording side of things. We went through a big long phase of this Ghost Party record where we got back together and we were writing songs and practicing all the time, and we were playing shows even. We were playing these same songs a long time ago, and we were ready to record, and we got up to that point of time to record, and then got back a couple quotes that we sat and talked about them for a long time, and we're like, now hold on, we can buy an interface and a bunch of microphones and stands and some recording software for the same price, and then we can do it forever and take however long we need, rather than spend 2, maybe 3 days tops in a studio and not get a product that we're 100% happy with. So we did exactly that, and kind of went back to the drawing board several times and really took our time, and wound up with a product that I would say that we're going to be happy with forever. There's not one moment on there that we're like, oh, skip that part, or oh no, we meant to change that or improve that. It's all been gone through and honed and sharpened and fine-tuned.
So it sounds like lessons learned and a lot of growth, and now you guys have Ghost Party coming out. And I want to know, if you had to throw a giant party of your own, a costume party, if you will, and you guys were going to take your fictional crushes that we talked about today, what famous couple would you guys go as? And you can't just say, well, I would go as Yuna to his Titus. You have to pick a different famous couple.
Okay.
Oh.
Ooh.
Okay.
Wow. This is fun.
Oh, this is fun. Oh, when I see Brad Pitt in that movie with his hair, I always think he looks like the lead guy from Green Day, like Billy Joel Armstrong. So that would be kind of fun to go as, like, if he went as Billy Joe Armstrong and I went as, like, Trey Cool, the drummer. We could go as a portion of Green Day.
I've always wanted to dress up as Envy Adams from Scott Pilgrim. And I've always wanted someone to dress up as the vegan bass player. Because I just think they're so, they're so pretentious, it's funny. I really align with how she acts. It's just not like that I'm like that, but I think it's hilarious how unapologetic she is about, I'm better than you.
Yeah.
You can step off. So I would do that couple.
Me and Matt would probably go as I really should have been thinking about this while they were answering. Honestly, I would maybe put on the Elektra suit, and we would just be Daredevil and Elektra, because Daredevil's already sort of a costume for him, but I guess that's not the question.
Go as John Hamm. You could be John Hamm.
Like Star Wars.
You could be the wife from. Or
you should go as a minion. You love minions.
Yeah, me and Daredevil would be or Matt would be Gru, and I would be all of the minions.
Matt loves minions. We had a minion birthday party for his 21st birthday. I'm just kidding.
It was my 8th, and they gave me a cup with minions on it. That was the theme.
Because he loves minions.
Wow. So it's hard to ask bands right now with COVID still looming in the air, but are there any shows on the horizon once Ghost Party drops?
Yeah. Oh, wow. So like I said, I have this sort of office job where people aren't always trying to look at what I'm doing. So I get a lot of booking done. And just this week, actually today, I booked a bunch of stuff. One of them, we're doing a festival in Atlanta. It's a college-run radio festival called 1,000 Couches, and it's part of the whole rec program. That's going to be really exciting. That's going to take place in Midtown, I think. I'm really ecstatic about that. I mean, it's really tricky for people to book shows right now, especially if you don't have representation from a booking agent. So I have to do my part by sleuthing the internet and finding any opportunity I can. And when you reach out to all these people, 60% of the time they don't get back to you, and you just follow up and they don't get back to you. So you have to take kind of whatever you can get. And one thing I found was sort of this upstart festival, didn't really have a lot of stuff backed by it. And I was like, okay, yeah, they'll definitely sign us on here because, we're a band inquiring about their new festival. It's in Blacksburg, Virginia, and it's this big stoner jam. And it's us with this band called Litz and Green Nugs and Monsoon.
It's a 420 festival.
It's a 420 festival, and we're trying to like inch our way up north, and Virginia will be one of the most northern places that we've gone. So I was like, all right, we're doing this Fly High festival. I'm not trying to make fun of it by any means. I think it's silly. We're kind of like this indie rock project, and we're going to be paired with some really, probably like really cool artists. But I mean, yeah, and they were super sweet. They were like, yeah, we'll set you up with this little cabin, and we'll give you some samples of our product. Not that I do that, but I mean, because oh my god, now I'm just sounding awful. Okay, but yeah, so we've got that, and then, you know, a bunch of other like cool venue shows. We got some spring break party that I'm pretty elated about. So I get to play to the youth. I really like playing to the youth.
I love the youth.
It has been very different though, with like most of these venues are, you know, proof of vaccine to get in, and the turnout's definitely not the same as it was. People are kind of sparse, but we've had some good luck.
I feel like it depends on the city too, because some cities don't give a fuck, and in other cities, it's. I mean, and that might just be because of a specific night or whatever. But yeah, Omicron has made a few shows kind of poorly attended.
But I feel like those who make it to the shows really feel into it, especially in some of the places in South Carolina that we went. They all seem really excited to be there and supportive of all music that goes through their towns.
And can you tell people where they can find all these dates, the new music, and yourselves online?
I primarily use Instagram. It's Monsoon Band. That's where I post tour posters, all of the announcements. But from there, we also have a website, monsoonforever.com, and Spotify. And we have all of our new music coming out on Spotify. Just Monsoon. It's got me looking through VR glasses. It's the picture. Those are the big three.
Monsoon, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me about all of your fictional crushes today. And everyone, you can find all of Monsoon's information below in the description. And until next time, keep crushing it.